Hey and welcome back to Pop Beat Breakdowns. Today's beat breakdown video, we got in front of us a 80s pop / retro type beat, which I would describe as in the style of like a Charlie Puth, someone who is very influential to my side of production going forward. I thought this would be a good beat to break down because sometimes it can be really hard to get that good balance of pop meets kind of the more 80s retro style. So I wanted to do this beat breakdown for you today because I feel like it might be helpful. If you're someone who's an aspiring producer, a beginner, or someone who's wanted to learn tips and tricks in this style of music, hopefully this video could be helpful to you, especially if you watch to the end, because there's going to be tips and tricks throughout this video. And of course, get your comments in now below if you've got any questions as the video is going along, and I will respond to all of the comments when the video is uploaded. And of course, if not already, like and subscribe to the channel as well. So firstly, let's have a listen to the beat we're breaking down. There's a lot of different elements going on here, which I'm going to break down in very much a fine detail so you can get the best idea of how to build up certain sounds that we've got in here. Now, the first thing is, and this is the common theme now of a lot of the beats I make this year, because I'm trying to make a point that there's nothing wrong with using it, and I use samples now a lot in my productions, normally as the starting point, because I feel like samples are a very good way to find that new source of inspiration, because as someone who produces beats every day, I can't afford to get writer's block. So today in Splice, I found this sample, which I thought would be a very good thing to build a track around today. Let's have a listen to it. Very simple, it's in the key of C# minor. It's only 3 chords, and on top of that as well, we've got nothing actually happening. It's just is what it is out of the tin. Sometimes I like that. So the first thing that I paired this with was a guitar. Now the guitar, for anyone who's wondering, as it is MIDI, this is actually the Electric Vintage Session Guitarist. It's open and it's the Soul Family preset for anyone who wants to know exactly what it is. Now what's really cool about this guitar, I'll quickly play it for you and then I'll show you how I've made this sound. A very nice warm modulated guitar sound. Now how you can do this using just Logic stock plugins is first apply a chorus effect. I always do 100% mix, 100% intensity, and 0.100, because normally you see me on the channel go down to 0.033. This means that you don't get the modulation sound, but you get the spread. I want both. I want that modulated sound and I want the spread to the sides of the mix. So 100 lets a little bit of that bleed through, and then I put the scan of vibrato on straight out the tin. Normally does this effect really well, but it creates this really nice sort of vibrato, again modulated effect on the guitar, which really works. And then you can use chroma verb, whatever you use in Logic, but this is just Native Instruments ROM reverb, and it's just the same principle, about 35.5% wet with a 4.8-second decay, and that is the reverb. And all together it's very simple, and they just blend really nicely together. And I also didn't quantize the guitar because I wanted it to sound kind of as real as possible if it was being plucked, the guitar. So yeah, the next thing I did then was add a melody, exact same settings and sounds, just this time something a little bit more melodic. But again, we're keeping it very simple at this point. Now the next thing we're to do was move on to the drums. Now let's just quickly isolate the drums and have a listen to what we're going to be breaking down here. So the first thing is the Latin drums. This is just the session player in Logic. Really fun to use. I like to use this because sometimes you don't know which direction the track's going to go, and then you're just looking for that new source of inspiration. Sometimes I just like to go into the session player in Logic, let it sort of like AI features try and make up something on the spot, and it works really well. So yeah, they've got the Latin there, and then the kick and the snare today, I believe, I might be wrong, I'm going to go ahead and say it was the Prism Retro Pop that I used. It was. Now, I got this in Logic. I got this from Native Instruments the other week because I really wanted some retro pop sounding drums. So if you're watching this video right now, wondering how you can get some retro pop sounding drums, I highly recommend the Retro Pop Prism by Native Instruments. This has some great sounds in it, especially for drums. There's loads to choose from. Just a quick drop down here. This is a couple of different presets, but there's so much more to it, as well as the effects. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not endorsed to say this, but it's just, yeah, it's got a lot of good components to it, which give it that really nice retro sound, which is hard to get if you just use Logic stock drums. I feel like a lot of them kind of lack that. So again, if you're looking for retro pop drums, look at the Prism. Very good. And this is the kick and snare. then the hi-hat is also from there as well. And then the crash is just something that I just took from Logic. Now with the crashes, I always make sure that I put a chorus effect on, just so it puts the crash out to the sides of the mix, so it's not cutting through the middle, leaving space for everything else in the mix, because it's quite, it's quite bright. And then on top of that as well, we just added in a little block. Now this was actually from Urban Beats though, this block, which is from the Contact player, which I think actually, I can't remember, but I don't think I actually paid anything for it. But it adds a little detail just to the drums, so like it's not just, just the drum beat, there's more to it, and that's a really good way to build up the drums. Now the next one we go to is the bass line, and as I always say in this channel, when it comes to instruments and synths, bass, the lot, I always try to blend sounds together, and today I've blended the Vintage Soul and the Warm and Clear, which is 2 Logic presets to create the bass sound I wanted. I wanted it to be quite snappy, but also like, melodic at the same time, and that was the best way to go. Then we're moving on to the FM 80s piano. Again, this is the Logic preset 80s FM piano that you can find in the preset library. When it comes to actually effects on it, the only things I've added is this ROM reverb. I added stereo delay, and I added a chorus effect to it. I already had everything else in it, and these are the settings that I used. Just a little bit of a 10% each side. It's meant to be 10%, just to add a little bit more of a flutter to the 80s FM piano. Sounds like this. It's a really nice warm sound. And then they wouldn't be quite complete without my future strings. This is quite a signature of my style of production, how to use this pad, but it's just very fun to use, and again, it is a Logic preset. You can find that in the rhythmic pad section in Logic if you're wondering where that is. Then again, just trying to add some more detail to it. We've got some white noise sweeping up, and we've got some white noise going down. Very simple stuff. Again, I get all that sort of stuff from Splice. I know how to make white noise, but it takes a lot of time. And when you're someone like me who's making multiple beats a day, sometimes that extra time would be better spent working on different ideas. And then lastly, to fill it all up together, we have 3 different layers here, which are very crucial to the overall sound. First, we've got the analog waves, which you will find in the Retro Synth in Logic Pro X in the pads section. And this is a very, very fun synth, perfect for retro pop and 80s pop. Have a listen to this. And then sometimes I like to blend this with the 70s classic synth bass. You can find this one in Alchemy, and it is a preset in the basses as well. Now, what you might be wondering about the 70s classic synth bass is why it's throbbing. Well, what I've done is, you may have seen back up in my drums, I had a side chained kick, which I had muted. That's because we don't want to hear the kick, but I've side chained this bass synth to the kick which I had there, meaning every time the kick plays, it triggers the compressor, creating this really nice little throb. So then this pad's also adding some rhythmic value to the track as well. Finishing off of Airways, which is one of the most famous Logic pads. Just a lovely bit of high end. And that is basically the whole track in its essence. It's very quick, it's very easy to make, doesn't take long to do. You just got to get the basic fundamentals of, obviously keys is a very important thing, electric piano. Adding in some modulated sounds, playing around with it. You could, as you see, I did it in the guitar, but you can also do it in other instruments as well. And get creative with it. Who knows? Maybe put some modulated effects and maybe like some brass or some strings, like, because it really helps add to it. And yeah, there's no rules to it at all, but you end up with a production that sounds like this. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful, and if it was, smash that like and subscribe button. But till the next video, guys, keep making music, and I'll see you in the next video.